think about 15 foot away from me in my garage is my boat, which is cut in half, that I'm eagerly putting back together for the new season. So
oh, that's great. Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. It's beautiful.
It's both exhilarating and frighteningly scary in one go.
Which is what we all live for, right?
Well, yeah, it's reminding me that I'm not 12 years old anymore, as much as my brain likes to think I am. Before, I like looking at value in older boats as much as I do designing new boats for myself. The boat I've got was a Moth that was a new design in, I think, 2006 or 2007, called a Blade Rider. It went and won some world championships and kind of took things to mass production at that stage. But it was, I guess, even the people that were behind it would say that there were a few areas where it may have been a little bit rough around the edges. So they went on and designed a new boat after a bit of a split amongst that group, a boat called a Mark II, which also went on to be hugely successful and still is to this day. Of course, there's newer designs out now, which are fantastic. But this boat that I've got's an old one where I look at it a little bit in the way that I looked at a Paradox, where, you know, scratch below the surface and there's something I think I can do with this. And the reality is that the boat that I've got, it's light enough, I'm making it strong enough. It's not going to win a world championship, but neither's Brad Gibson, no matter what boat he goes and buys. So what's the point in throwing a huge amount of money at something that you're never going to do any justice? So with playing with this old boat and rebuilding it, I'm learning something along the way. I'm learning how to foil a boat. The Moth community, a little bit like radio sailing, is a fantastic community where there's just literally dozens and dozens of people that are happy to offer you advice and give you bits and pieces and tell you how to do it and tell you what you're doing wrong, or even kind of come up to you and say, you know what, you actually did quite well today. And that's, you know, there's an awful lot of similarities in that respect. So it's a nice little change, and it's one of those ones of, I got to a stage of, I don't know, some people would probably call it a midlife crisis. I'm not quite prepared to call it that just yet. But it's one of those ones of where I'd looked at over the years that I'd always wanted to have a sail of one after having a kind of junior life sailing skiffs, and thought, well, if I don't do it now, I'll only look back regretting it. So radio yachts will always be there for me, and I still keep my hand in with those at the moment. And we're certainly not going to sleep on those, but we're having a bit of fun with the Moth as well.
You making sails?
I've done a lot of recuts to an old North sail that I've got at the moment, and I turned an old sail into a deck sweeper and a heavy air sail. But yeah, I'm happy enough with it. But you know, it's not a patch on some of the sails that the big lofts are making with them at the moment. I mean, they're doing some exceptional work. There's a guy here, Mike Lennon, who makes fantastic sails. That Paul Goodison, who was winning his world championships with Mike's sails. And then the recent worlds that were out in Perth, the North guys kind of hit back with some really fancy looking sails on that. I'm using a sail from a guy I grew up knowing back in Australia who used to make cherub sails and was an ex-champion there. So I'm really happy with the sail I've got from Australia. So there's lots of good stuff going on with the sails. You kind of stand back and go, just wow, you know, just some of the kit is just awesome that these guys are using. It's really nice stuff.